and we moved to Middlesbrough. I stayed at my nana's with my mum and that, and then we moved to Redcar, and I stayed with my uncles, but they were all Scottish, so I had that Scottish accent for years, and they were all brave, and they were not scared of anyone, you know, about Tam, John, Frank, Jerry, they were all, there was 5 girls and 5 boys, there was like 10, 11, with the mum and dad was 12, so I stayed with them for a while, then we moved to the year 19, we had a little cottage on the year 19, but it was like something out of the 19th century, you know, it was colour-gas, and you put it on the wall. We had no running hot water. You had a bath, like a tin bath type of thing you get in.
Did you have electricity?
No electricity whatsoever. It was just, it's still there now, you'll see it on the A19, it's between the garage of Billingham and the...
Where they do the car, the Ron Perry's?
Yeah, just before there, if you go back, there's a garage there. Just you go down there, you can go up the bank on it and you go to it, there's a little cottage there. We stayed there 4 years with there, and my mum was a drinker. My dad was a gambler, so we never had to see them. So I had to look after my brothers and my sister and that. And I'd go out and pinch tatties out the local farmer's field, and I'd make them. Sometimes you make them into chips. If not, put them make them, because we had an oven, you know, the old black one.
Yeah, like an Arga kind of thing.
Like the old Victorian type ones, yeah. So you put your coal and here, and then you'd put a bit underneath, so the oven would make the bread and stuff. And I used to get dough and make dough out of flour and water and make it. It was horrible, but it was food. And we'd have turnip, but it was cattle turnip, horrible. Oh. And I remember walking to the shops once. It's about 5 miles to the Billingham, Wolverston, not far from Wolverston. Yes. It was about 5 miles to there, and 5 mile back. I was about 8 years old, and I got there and I had about 5 or 6 bags of 5 or 6 bottles in each bag, and I got there and they were Lowcocks. They only took Jones's bottles, and I was fucking devastated because I was going to get some butter and bread and make some chips and things. So I had to go home and make a fire outside in the garden and make roast tatty type of thing. So we've known hard times, you know. There was no electricity, so then we moved to Romaine Park, 13 Romaine Park we moved to. It was on the corner. And when I moved there, I got bullied because I used to go to St. Helens. Mm-hmm. But when I first went, I pretended I was a Kung Fu expert. And I said, do you remember the Hong Kong Fu advert? The cartoon, so I pretended I was a Kung Fu expert. And I had a Scottish accent, I got bullied, so I pretended. He said, where do you go every weekend? I used to go to my nana's. Obviously, my Uncle Tam and John and Frank, and now Frank used to play for Manchester United then. People would say I was lying about that, but people can check it. Yeah. So anyway, I'd go and see them on the Friday night when I got my nana's. I'd watch the Kung Fu. Yeah. And I'd get all these moves in my head. I used to always had a good strong 6-pack, and I could let them punch me and something never hurt me, but I couldn't fight Toppy, you know. And one day they slag off at me out and give me a good hand, and they started bullying me, you know, so it didn't last. But when I first went to the school I got bullied there though. This is the kids in the street I'm on about. And we went to school, and I used to go to St. Helens, but in them days, if you're like 5 miles or more, you'd get a bus, but you had to walk, so we were about 3.5, 4 miles from school. So I was all strategically minded, because that means like the army, how to get there. So how do I get there and do this? And I'll go off the beach way, I'll go down the railway lines, or
planned it out.
And I'd sit in bed and how do I get there? And what about these 6 lads beat me up? And because I had dyslexia, the teachers would bully you as well, because they'd say you don't listen. And I would listen, but you didn't know how to spell, because you couldn't process it properly, because your brain works different with dyslexia, as you know. So anyway, put you in a thick class, then they'd stand you on the chair if you got a spelling wrong, then stand you on the desk. But you stood on the desk like a lemon, everyone laughing at you in the class, you know, and a day on your head in the corner and things like that. Horrible. That was the teachers. So anyway, I started like thinking, how do I get away from them? And miss, I've got to go, I feel bad, and get out early or something, and daft little things like that, you know. And then you couldn't tell your mum and dad, because they'd say get out and have a fight, because they were old fashioned, you know. And you'd make things up like you were bad. And then we'd nick off school with my mate, Dorsey, and we used to break in the way we'd pull the door up and get in the door, or the window, get in this hole. And it was where they used to put the stuff for the rugby club under the stands, and we'd go in there and sleep. And then we'd go about 12 o'clock, we'd break, and one would go to the shop with a note. And the man would be getting all the stuff, getting that, and I'd be over the back wall, getting the stuff out the freezer, out the back, you know. But that's the only way you had to live. You never got fed, we struggled for food and everything them days, and we'd have to go to the beach and get cold, because we'd freeze, because we'd like sequel, you know. And we'd do things. I got a load of books from school, given for out, and I went around all the doors, and I was selling for 2 pence each, and give my mum the money, and made a couple of quid. And that's what you did then. Now it's just greed. So they won't do nothing, kids now. No,
going back to that,
yeah.
you know, you said you were bullied and
Yeah.
going to school. How did it feel knowing you had to avoid these bullies and that if you went to school the bullies were going to get you? And like, how did you cope
horrendous
with
fear. You just fear every day, and you, like I say, you couldn't tell your mum. You tell the teachers, you're a tittle or you couldn't win. So you just had to take it on the chin, literally. Yeah. And I've got good eyes. I remember getting a good eye on the beach and kicked me in the ribs, and wind had been fessed out. I was going to die, and it was horrible having to get sneak back and forth. And then when I left there, I went to the big school. And I had a fight with the lad, and I beat him. And I thought, this is better than getting beaten up. And I thought, so I started fighting.
Bullied and being bullied by the teachers and being called thick and a dunce.
You start to believe it.
How did you overcome that then? Like you say, you started to believe it. So how did you convince yourself that you weren't?
Well, when I went to the big school, it was like a special school, and the other people were like that, the same as me. So because you're in amongst your own type of thing, people can call them thick or whatever, but most of them, I mean, you get people that say, oh, you can't read and write properly, but I couldn't because I wasn't. And plus, a lot of it, I nicked off school, and plus I was bad with asthma, had pneumonia, and plus I used to stay off looking after the kids. My mum and dad, you know, were there, obviously what they had with the drink and the gambling addiction, so all that was there, so I just had to get on with it, you know.
And when you go from that and you go to having that fight, that first fight, from that feeling of being scared and not wanting to go and trying to avoid people and having this fight, what did that feel like?
Being elated because you thought, wow, one bit of move, I grabbed him and threw him on the floor and punched him in the face, that was it. So a couple of seconds, it was gone. But it was miles better than having to run and hide, so I thought, this is better than running away.